guess it can't be that bad, right? Maybe if I give it another shot, it'll go over better this time. Nope, can't do it this time. Nope, I can't do it. I'm not doing this. I'm getting out of here. Okay. How's it going, everyone? And welcome back. So, it's finally time for me to sit down and play Miles Morales. Originally this video was supposed to be out last Christmas, but things got changed around. I was preoccupied during November, so I didn't have time to work on any videos for like Batman Begins or another one that I'll probably do later on here soon. So, and also Swifty hadn't sent his stuff for Batman Begins yet, so I couldn't quite get to that. So, but now we're here. We're finally here. It's a very late Christmas review, I guess I should say, but it's still cold as hell outside, though. But anyway, we're gonna just babble on here and take a look at Miles and finally move on to, well, I'll talk about it at the end of the video, but, yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Oh, 2020. The year that just kept on sucking. Whether it was being locked in my own house or not being able to see my friends among countless other things that just hurt me in the long run. I did try to keep myself busy, however, by planning to get this review channel off the ground. Thankfully, I didn't get sick, and I hope I never have to encounter anything like that for as long as I live. Sorry if this is turning into a bit of a downer, but I think the context is necessary. So back in June of that year, PlayStation streamed an event to show off its latest console and all the latest games that would be releasing along with it. Among them, and out of nowhere, would be the announcement of a new Spider-Man game, and being the center focus was Miles Morales. I was awestruck. Not only was Insomniac Games releasing the next entry so soon after the 2018 original, but Miles would be the star, and I've been a big fan of the character since he debuted in the Ultimate Comics back in 2011. It wasn't the sequel we were expecting, but instead a smaller game in the same vein as Infamous First Light and Uncharted Lost Legacy. This might be wild speculation, but I'm gonna guess that Into the Spider-Verse had a hand in making this a reality, but I couldn't care because Miles is awesome. I followed every trailer and news bit like my life depended on it, and some of the first videos for this channel was dedicated to the game. Like a reaction to the Spider-Verse costume, an unboxing for the PS4 version, and lastly my first impressions not long after its release. The game released on November 12th, and I beat the game that night I got it, and had completed everything including New Game Plus 100% within a couple days. It was the perfect bookend to such an awful year, and I needed it in my life, or else I would have gone nuts, to put it lightly. I eventually got the PS5 in 2022, and one of the first titles I played was Miles Morales along with the remaster for the 2018 game. This is the plug. Go check that video out. As much as I loved my time playing it, I haven't really done a full playthrough since my Let's Play I did back over 3 years ago. So let's take a step back and see how well this holds up after 5 years. In this video I'll be playing the PlayStation 5 version and not covering the PC version for reasons I went into in the remaster revisit. As far as the PS4 version, I'll quickly get this out of the way, but this is a good way to play the game if you haven't migrated to the new consoles. It runs good at 30 FPS and has all the bells and whistles the next-gen game has to offer. It may not run at 60 FPS and have ray tracing, but it's worth checking out if you still play on last-gen. Wow, that was a lot to talk about. But let's not waste any more time and get straight on into the story. The game takes place 1 year after the events of the original game and its DLC. Miles has gotten more used to being a spider, and he's going to have to put those skills to the test as he and Peter oversee a prison convoy which goes horribly wrong fast. Rhino is broken out of custody, and it's up to the duo, or more accurately Miles, to stop him. After meeting Simon Krieger, the head of Roxxon, and totally not a villain by the way, Pete drops a bombshell telling Miles that he's leaving for a few weeks and it's up to him to keep watch of things until he gets back. With New York in his hands and a brand new Christmas present, Miles begins his escapades by coming across a group known as the Underground led by this so-called Tinkerer. Anyway, enough of that. Christmas festivities ensue, and this is where Miles reconnects with his close friend Finn, where they agree to meet each other tomorrow to get this award they won together. Some stuff happens, like Miles reconnecting with his Uncle Aaron, who knows his identity, but now jump to a rally hosted by Rio Morales and things go bad quick. But hey, it went better than the last rally Miles went to.
What? Too soon?
The fight moves over to the bridge where things go from bad to worse as this new form stuff Roxxon created destroys the bridge, but also we learn that Finn is the Tinkerer. Miles saves everyone, and with some wise words from his mom and a confidence boost from Genki, Miles creates a new suit and Spider-Man is ready to fight this battle head on. It isn't going to be easy as Miles learns his uncle is the Prowler and finds out the truth of why Finn is doing all this. So her brother Rick, who Miles was also close with, is responsible for creating new form, and with Finn's help, they planned on shutting down the reactor, but things went sideways and she watched her brother die during an overload Krieger caused. We learned all this from a smartphone. The wonders of technology. Miles meets Finn for coffee where he pretends to join the Underground, and this is where we learn where the last vial of new form is, which is at this abandoned theater. Spider-Man goes to grab the new form and comes across the Tinkerer where a huge chase ensues and Miles tells Finn his real identity. Miles tries to patch things up, but then all of a sudden Rhino shows up in a new Roxxon armor and kidnaps the both of them. Soon enough they escape their holdings and proceed to take down the Rhino for the last time. After the fight, Miles learns that if Finn's plans to destroy Roxxon Plaza with the generator outside the building goes through, it'll overload it again, causing it to destroy Harlem in the process. Finn doesn't care, she's had enough of Miles' shit and injures him severely. Also, is Rhino dead? Is he alive? I need to know how my boy's doing. Spider-Man is at his lowest point, and it doesn't help that Rio learns his alter ego. But with a good chat, Spidey sets off to get the new form, only to get captured by his uncle. Anyway, the two fight, Miles goes to the science center and fails to get the new form, and then shit gets crazy in Harlem. We finally arrive at the final battle where Miles gets his ass handed to him, but Finn realizes what's happening and the two survive a fall that somehow doesn't kill them both.
What?
Miles stops the reactor, but he's about to explode, so Finn takes them both high in the sky, sacrificing herself in the process. Harlem learns his identity, but they also band together to protect his secret as Spidey swings into the night. Weeks pass with Simon arrested, Peter returning to New York, and the duo having a heartfelt conversation. But crime doesn't sleep, so the Spider Bros swing into the fray, ready for what's next, ending the story of Spider-Man Miles Morales. I would say in general it's pretty entertaining for the most part, but it has some issues for sure. The main problem is that it's very samey and takes so many cues from the previous installment. I mean, just look at the similarities, with Roxxon being Sable International but red, the Underground which is the Inner Demons, and Finn as this game's Otto Octavius, Simon Krieger who is the Norman Osborn, new form is just Devil's Breath, and even the Prowler you can make an argument for being this game's Silver Sable. They're almost a carbon copy for their roles, and there's even certain scenes that are taken from the 2018 game repurposed here. You could say because this was made in so short a time it was out of convenience, but to me this just screams laziness. Not to mention this game, like the last one, is really predictable and you'll see everything coming a continent away. Can we talk for a second why the Tinkerer doesn't work on a personal level? I don't really have much of a connection to Finn because the game doesn't really give me a reason to care in the first place. By the time we meet her, she's already leading the Underground and is too deep to have any kind of redemption. At least with Otto, we knew what the end result was, but we had the first 2 acts to see him before he turned into an 8-limbed maniac. Not to mention the friendship between her and Miles is soured immediately as it's told to us and not really shown. They have flashbacks periodically to enforce this, but we see them after they're already enemies and it ultimately hurts the narrative in the long run. It would have been better if the Science Expo happened near the start of the game and the memory of them as a trio showed after we learned Rick's fate. This would have made the revisit through the expo more impactful, but they didn't do that. In the end, the story doesn't really matter all that much, and it's more so about the development of Miles as a character. This was the main thing that kept me going during the narrative, was seeing Miles struggle with the balance of his double life and slowly develop his own way to be Spider-Man. not to mention his relationships with his family and friends. It's all great stuff, and they do a spectacular job of setting Miles apart from Peter, with both of them being science nerds but having an interest in music as a hobby. In costume, he's clearly new to the role, but it's not in a way that makes him look like a useless tool. Miles is just oozing with personality, and I love him for it. I guess closing my thoughts on the story, it's executed in a way where I can still enjoy it, but there's so much retreaded here that it becomes distracting and is by far the weakest part of the game. So, on to gameplay now? I don't imagine I'll be spending much time here, but they tweaked a few things that I should talk about. Gone are the days of sneaking around with the hacking app. This is Spider-Man, baby, and he's ready to kick some ass. Starting with combat, it's relatively unchanged. You can attack, dodge, and web strike to your heart's content. Brawling in the air is still satisfying, performing takedowns is as great as ever, and mixing in gadgets to spice things up is also really fun too. Combat is still as good as it ever was, so let's move on. Stealth is about the same as before, but now you're able to do takedowns from the wall and the ceiling, which is great. I'm glad it's here, but it's weird that a game from 2012 could do this, and Insomniac is just adding this now. Traversal is still the same as before, with you swinging, parkouring, and point launching till the cows come home. The thing that makes me like web slinging more in this game is tricks. This was something that was in the PS4 game that I didn't talk about in the original review, but it was an upgrade you can get by holding circle and triangle in any direction to perform rolls, twirls, and all sorts of stuff in the air. Whew. Here it's been moved to square, which I like, and the animations are so fluid and transition to the next move so well. In PS4 I might do a trick or two every other swing, but in Miles it's a necessity for every time I let go of R2 or after I launch from a pipe, because it's so fun and rewarding by building a high combo.
Robbers won't be expecting you.
Ultra Combo!
Let's talk about gadgets, since Miles has some unique stuff compared to Peter. He doesn't have as many compared to the OG, with a grand total of 8 being reduced only to 4. Besides the web shooters, which act the same as previously, first of the bunch is the Holo Drone, which adds up to 3 buddies on the field to help you out. It's a neat idea, but I'm so used to taking everybody out without them. Next is the Remote Mine, which is definitely the best new inclusion, as it stuns everybody within its field, and in stealth encounters it knocks them out cold. In combat it's a stun that lasts quite a bit, and I just like using it the most out of the others. Lastly is the Gravity Well, which pulls mooks together and leaves them open to attack. It's a very short duration, which is why I don't tend to use it often, or at all in fact. The gadgets in general are interesting concepts that don't leave a lasting impact for me. Besides the mine and the web shooters, I don't really have a need to use them and would rather just use my skills to solve my problems. It's a shame, because the last game I loved taking advantage, mixing and matching and using them for any scenario. The focus meter can still heal you if necessary, but takedowns have been reworked to where you have to build a combo to perform them, and you can use up to 2 once you have them saved up. If you thought Arkham, I did too, and that's sad. Suit powers have been removed completely, and suit mods have been changed to where you can equip up to 4 and you can assign them to your suit and your visor. Like the last game, I don't mind them for the most part, but I use a few of them like stronger webbing or the perfect dodge or having extra ammo. Now to go over the thing I've been neglecting all review, the new powers. As the story progresses, Miles gains new abilities, which are labeled as Venom powers and even a camouflage. I'm just going to go in order and give you my thoughts on each along the way. First is the Venom Punch, which is immensely satisfying to pull off. It's probably my favorite to use, and it does a great job for any obstacle. Next up, Miles can straight up turn invisible, and this works well for getting a free takedown in combat and stealth, or if you're in a tight jam you can use it to slip away and give you some time to breathe. Next is the Venom Dash, and this is my least favorite to use. This allows you to bolt straight to the nearest enemy and fling them, which I guess is neat, but it's no different than a Venom Punch aside from being a bit faster. Lastly is the Venom Blast, and this is so fun to use. It just annihilates everything in the radius and is the move that I use when I just don't care anymore. Assuming I have 3 focus bars. There are a couple of maneuvers you can buy with upgrades like the Venom Jump, which is super useful, and the Venom Smash, which has a great area of effect. Besides combat, the dash and jump can be used for traversal, and this is also fun to mess around with. And using the suit mod to refill the venom with tricks is worth it. The new powers are amazing and make up for the lack of gadgets. They can be a great equalizer in the right situations, but in reality they are incredibly fucking broken. Whether it's the invisible KO or Mega Blast which wipes everybody off the map, they're disgustingly powerful but are so fun to abuse. Gameplay in general is great stuff like before, and I don't know if I would say I like this more than PS4, but I would say I like it equally to PS4. There's pros and cons from this game, like the traversal being better with the tricks and venom moves to keep yourself airborne, but PS4 takes the cake with gadgets in its variety and usefulness in all areas, and it's fun to use combinations. Regardless, they put so much effort into both games that it's hard to not enjoy both. Wall crawling still sucks, and I don't know how they didn't tweak it at all. Now let's see the other stuff. I guess that was a transition. Just like Spider-Man PS4, let's start on the graphical side because, again, another amazing looking title. Since this is a multi-platform title, it doesn't take full advantage of the PS5 hardware, but everything still looks great from the start. Lighting is also really stellar. It's an upgrade compared to the PS4 in my opinion, and nothing is more relaxing than swinging in the sunset in this game. As for PS5 exclusive features, I mentioned most if not all of these in the remaster video, but I figured I'd go over them again just as a refresher. Accessibility options are again through the roof and are as the same as the remaster. Or is the remaster the same as this? Anyway, from visual aids to gameplay assists, it's all accounted for. One thing I noticed that was different here was the narration for sign language subtitles, which I think is such a cool feature to include. Performance modes are all here and accounted for, with fidelity at 30 FPS with ray tracing, performance in 60 FPS at 1080p, and lastly performance RT, which is the best of both worlds. Load times are incredible just like the remaster, and yes, you can enable load screens here too. Again, this is such an interesting feature to enable these. Haptic feedback is here, and just like Spider-Man Remastered, I notice it less and less, but still a neat feature. Photo mode has gotten tons of new features since the PS4 days, and is overall much better here. From adding light sources or being able to change suits for your picks, these are all quality of life changes that are much appreciated. One of my favorite improvements includes being able to change not only the time of day, but also different weather conditions. Just having the option to select clear skies or heavy snowfall is cool and worth experimenting with all settings. You can now replay missions, which is always a win-win, and again I wish the remaster added this. This game can be glitchy, and while I haven't ran into a lot, they can sneak up every once in a while. The remaster is also prone to stuff like this, and I just realized I forgot to mention it for that video. So now on to the world around you. Which for me is just this room. The open world is the same size and layout, but now it's Christmas time! The snow and the decorations look so vibrant and are not a dull gray piece of shit. I really don't like this game. Let's talk about the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man app for a second, because this is how you do side missions and you can pick crimes to tackle in the open world. Starting with the crimes, you can do them as they pop up like before, but you can also pick them in the app, and like in Spider-Man PS4, they each have optional objectives you can do for resources like tokens. For completion, this is much better than the 5 crimes per district bullshit from before, and it helps that I can replay any of the crimes from the app, which makes it the winner by default. For side missions, there's a variety of them, like saving Teo's cat named Spider-Man, taking a selfie, finding Feast's stolen toys, and pigeons. Again. Most of them are pretty fun, and like crimes, you can replay them at any time, which is great, and it makes me wish the Arkham games had this feature. A couple of them even have suits you can unlock, like the Bodega Cat suit and the Uptown Pride suit you get for completing the rest. Oh, the cat has a mask on. That's adorable. Sorry to have to do this, dog, but I'm abandoning you. In general, the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man app is a great feature and is something other games should take note of. As for other things to do, there's hideouts from the underground and Roxxon, spider training with holograms, finding time capsules and postcards post-game, sounds from Uncle Aaron which fucking suck, and these caches scattered all over the place. Most of them are pretty harmless, with the challenges from Pete being my favorite and the sound samples being the worst because they are very specific and very picky and you're just more confused. Next, let's talk about suits because we have a fine selection here. Favorites of mine include the Spider-Verse suit, of course, 2020 suit, Bodega Cat, and Purple Rain, just to name a few. Some really good ones I like are the Tracksuit, Animated, 2099, and Homemade suits. The End suit and the Programmable Matter costume are fine, and I feel like I'm one of the few people who loves the Strike suit. Some of them, like Brooklyn Visions and the Winter outfit, are kind of a waste, and the Uptown Pride suit is giving me Arkham Knight flashbacks. I like Miles' gold suit way more anyway. Crimson Cowl is objectively the worst, but I could wear it every once in a while. In a blue moon. A while after the game launched, they added this advanced tech suit, which I really like, and one weird thing is that one of the suits is locked behind New Game Plus, which I find strange. New Game Plus is back too, in case you couldn't tell. Benchmarks are back, which again I don't care for, and they also brought back this social media thing, which helps with world building, so that's neat. I just realized I didn't cover this in the PS4 review, so my bad. Bosses are uninteresting. Like the last game, they aren't awful, but they don't really stand out and are more like a beefed up regular enemy. Also, with the more aggressive AI, some of them can lean more on the annoying side, like with Prowler in the final battle with Finn. They have these amazing chase sequences with Tinker and Rhino, so why can't we get more of that pizzazz in their bosses? Again, I just realized I forgot to talk about the bosses for the revisit, so I'll just say now that my thoughts remain relatively unchanged from the original review and they don't differ much in the remaster. John Paisano is back composing the music, and again he does a terrific job. It's a Spidey score with some hip-hop flair and it works really well. It also fits with Miles' personality and makes me vibe with the exaggerated swagger of like, oh my god, somebody actually wrote that in that office. Alright, time for my final thoughts and to cap this year up. Oh wait, that's right, I can't use that anymore. Can you tell I wrote this script a while ago? It was in September. Last year. Spider-Man Miles Morales is a great game in its own right and a worthy successor to the PS4 original. Kinda like the character himself. The first game is still a better game overall, but this has all these little improvements that make it worth playing. The story is the weakest part by far, but it's worth going through because of the character and the world around him. I love the addition of the Venom powers and the inclusion of the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man app. This may be a smaller game, but it's worth its asking price, and like I've said before, go for the Ultimate Edition of the game because you also get a great remaster with your purchase. Not bad, kid. Keep on going. So yeah, that was a lot of fun, and I'm glad I could finally get around to covering Miles Morales. Fun fact, I actually started writing a script back in 2020 when the game launched, and I was planning on reviewing it at some point. I thought about doing like a little PS4 Spider-Man thing, like right after the Arkham games, but that changed, so. As for when we're going to get to Thor, who knows? Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the review, and I think it's about time that we finally get into another marathon, and this one has been a big one that I've been eagerly anticipating for, what was the last, 2022 was the last marathon? That's crazy, but anyway guys, if you'll excuse me, I need to go prepare myself. Well guys, I'll see you for the Spider-Man Marathon. This is going to be a long road ahead.